Miller's Tire and Auto Care. Need to hire experienced technicians, oil change, tire technician, tow truck drivers, exceptional benefits and pay. Drop your resume off at Miller's Tire on the Big Hill Avenue location. 4 high schools, 7 middle schools, 1 college, and a university, and much more. Now introducing your most comprehensive weekly local sports show in Madison County, the Richmond Register Sports Show. The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by MetroNet, superfast internet, simply a better connection. Total Comfort, heating and air conditioning. Let Total Comfort keep you cool or warm this winter. Call for service or for a free replacement quote. Wynn's Auto Detailing Service. Platinum Roofing, Solar and Green Solutions. Voted Richmond's best roofer 7 years in a row. And by kymedia.net, digital media solutions on your terms. Here's your host for all things local sports, the Richmond Register sports editor, Nathan Hutchison.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Richmond Register Sports Show. My name is Nathan Hutchinson. I'm the sports editor of the Richmond Register. And as always, we very much appreciate you tuning us in this week. Coming up in just a few minutes, we will be joined by John Lovell from the Madison County Sports Hall of Fame. That organization just recently announced its second inaugural class, 9 individuals and 2 teams, and they will be inducted May 20th over at the Perkins Building at EKU. And as you'll hear in just a minute, if you're interested in going to this thing, you better get tickets quick because there's a limited number of tickets. And unlike last year's class, which unfortunately featured a lot of folks who were no longer with us, this year's class has a lot of folks who are still living, and a lot of folks will be at this thing. So if you really want to go, you might want to get your tickets early. So just a little bit of warning. But John will be here in just a minute to tell us all about this year's ceremony and this year's class. We're going to break it down, each individual person and the 2 teams as well. So hang around for that. But before we do that, we like to start off the show the way we always start off the show with a recap of the week that was in Madison County sports. And Randy put up the picture. You know the picture I'm talking about. This is one of the coolest pictures you'll ever see around here. But look at that. That is Madison Southern graduate Samantha Cornelison and model grad Keaton Hall celebrating in the locker room after they were part of the undefeated 33-0 national champion Transylvania Pioneers women's basketball team that won the Division III NCAA championship on Saturday in Dallas. They beat Christopher Newport 57-52 for the program's first ever championship. And of course, we know those 2 young ladies very well, and Keaton's dad actually sent me that photo, and we're very appreciative of that. But how cool is that them 2 celebrating a national championship? Team, 2 girls that used to be rivals. One played at Model, one played at Southern. They had a lot of battles against each other. Cornelison, a sophomore on that Transy team. Hall, just a freshman. Neither one of them played a whole lot this year. It was a very senior-heavy, upper-class-heavy team. Of course, that went 33-0. Both of them did play in almost every game all year, and even Samantha even got into at the very end of the championship game there. But they're just, obviously just a sophomore and a freshman. They're going to get their chances to play a little bit more in the future and get a chance to maybe win another national championship. But congratulations to Keaton and to Samantha, and we are hoping to get them on the show next week. So I don't want to get too over my skis or anything, but I've been trying to set that up, so hopefully we can have them right here in the studio. And wouldn't it be cool to have them in the studio right here with that national championship trophy? That would be pretty cool. So we'll see if we can set that up. But once again, congratulations to Keaton and Samantha and the entire Transylvania team. It was amazing how just Saturday on Twitter and the Lexington media, kind of everybody in the state was jumped on the Transy bandwagon, and everybody was cheering for the Pioneers. So congratulations to them. So moving on to high school baseball for the week. Busy week for Madison Southern, but a good week as they played 5 games, picked up 4 victories. On Tuesday, a 6-2 win at Danville, where Hayden Kane had a pair of home runs. On Thursday, a 12-4 win at Pulaski County, and then they headed south, the Eagles did, into Tennessee to play in the Clinch River Challenge, which is being played in Knoxville. Friday night, a 9-1 win over Grace Christian Academy. 2 games on Saturday, a 6-3 win over Carter, Tennessee, and then a 10-6 loss to Lakeway Christian. They will be back in action tomorrow in that tournament, the final game against Knoxville Catholic, and so there you go, 5-5 on the season. after a good week for the Eagles as they continue to play good baseball, and we'll keep you updated on their progress down there in Tennessee. Madison Central baseball had an interesting week, I guess you could say. They had 3 games earlier in the week before they headed south to Florida for their annual spring break trip. And we thought they had picked up 3 victories before they headed south, but Monday a 9-2 win at home over Montgomery County, Tuesday a 4-1 win at Great Crossing, and then on Thursday a 10-6 win at home over Frankfort. Parker Mullins hit a 3-run home run in the first inning. They scored 3 more runs in the second inning as well, and picked up that 10-6 victory. But one day later, we found out that victory had been vacated by a forfeit, a self-reported violation, pitching violation, and so that game actually goes into the record books as a forfeit. If you throw a pitcher for more than 75 pitches in a game, KHSAE rules say you have to sit them for 3 days. There was an honest mistake by the Central coaching staff. They brought a young man back who had pitched earlier in the week. He came back and pitched just 7 pitches, but any number of pitches is a violation. So it goes down in the books technically as a loss, even though obviously the Indians did win the game. But after that, the Indians loaded up the bus and headed on down to Fort Walton Beach for the Fort Walton Beach Bash, and they opened that up earlier today against Rivas, Illinois, and picked up an 8-4 victory. Only had 5 hits in this game, but still picked up the win to move to 7-2 on the season. Gunnar Road is 2 for 2 with a double, 2 RBIs, and 2 runs scored. Bradley Pointer with a double, 2 runs scored. Keith Stewart also scored a couple of runs. Cannon Spivey with a double, an RBI, and a run scored. Eli Metcalf got the start, went 3 1/3 innings, did a good job. And Griffin Lyons came in and pitched 2 2/3 innings as well. The Indians will be back in action in Florida tomorrow against Holy Cross. A busy week, too, for the Model Lab baseball team. 4 games on Tuesday, a 12-2 loss at Williamstown. Wednesday, a 14-2 win at Bergen. And then on Sunday, just earlier today, a doubleheader sweep of Paris in an event that was supposed to be a little 3-way tournament this past weekend, and the other team bailed out, so Model and Paris just played a pair of games on Sunday up in Paris. 13-1 win in the first game, and then the second game, the Patriots scored 20 runs and rolled to another victory. So 5-3 on the season now for the Patriots, and they're back in action Monday against Trimble County. There's one game this past week for the Berea Community Baseball team. 18-5 loss at Garrett County on Monday. In that game, Billy Strife was 2 for 3 with a double, 2 RBI, and a run scored. Pirates fall to 0-5. And they'll have the week off with spring break, and they'll be back in action on April the 5th. Moving on to high school softball, the Lady Indians started out the week with a 5-0 record. Had 1 game on the schedule, actually had 2 games on the schedule before they headed to Florida. They picked up a 6-0 win over Estill County on Monday night at home. That was Jasmine Kaler picking up the complete game win in the circle, allowing just 6 hits and 8 Ks, while Olivia Metcalf, Brooklyn Gilbo, Speakman and Hack both had 2 hits each, and the Indians collected a total of 10 hits. So that moved them to 6-0 in the season. They were supposed to play Wednesday night at Wolfe County. Wolfe County had some injuries and decided to go ahead and cancel that game. So they didn't have another game until Sunday, and we were literally, as we were filming this, we were just watching the game changer, and the Indians open up play in Florida on their spring break trip with a 3-2 victory over Owensboro Catholic. It was Olivia Metcalf with an RBI single in the bottom of the 7th inning to move Madison Central to 7-0 on the season. They were down early in that game, but battled back to pick up a win. That's the way you want to open up a spring break trip, with a walk-off victory. So they're back in action. Not much time to celebrate because they're back in action tomorrow, Monday, at 11 a.m. versus Apollo. The rest of the week in high school softball action, Madison Southern had 3 games this past week. Monday, a 9-8 win over Tates Creek at home. Tuesday, a 10-4 loss to Pulaski County at home. And on Thursday, a 13-5 loss at Rock Castle County. In the win over Tates Creek, Jada Carter, 3 RBIs, Ashlyn Eastep, 2 doubles, and 2 runs scored. Against Rock Castle County, Taylor Reeves had a home run and 2 RBIs. And Madison Southern sits at 5-6 on the season, and they will not return to action until Saturday when they travel out to Butler County for a little triangle event out there. Model softball team 3 games this past week, a couple of wins. On Monday, 11-9 win at Berea Community. On Tuesday, a 17-2 win at home over Menifee County, and then on Thursday, an 11-0 loss to Owsley County. In that win over Berea on Monday, Riley Hunt 3 for 4, a triple, 3 runs scored, and 2 RBIs. Josie Williams 2 for 3 with a run scored. Eliana Weaver 1 for 4 with 2 runs scored and an RBI, and Piper Moore with 2 RBIs and a run scored. And in the big victory over Menifee County, Weaver was 4 for 4 with 2 doubles and 3 RBIs. 2 for 4 on the season. Lady Patriots are back in action Friday at Bergen. Berea Community had a pair of games this past week. Obviously, we just told you the 11-9 loss to Model, and then on Tuesday, a 13-0 loss at Jackson County. In the loss to Model, it was Taylor Johnson 3 for 4, a double, a triple, 3 runs scored, and 2 RBIs. And 0-6 on the season now for the Lady Pirates, and they have their spring break this week as well, so they won't be back in action until April the 13th at home against Garrett County. High school track, the first of the season was Tuesday night, and all-comers meet over at Madison Central. 17 teams in this one, folks. A whole bunch of athletes from all over Central, Southern, and Eastern Kentucky coming into Richmond for this event. And Madison Central sweeps the boys and girls teams titles. Lady Indians had 138 points to beat out South Laurel with 81 points for the title. And it was a little bit closer on the boys' side, but Central had 91 points, beating out North Laurel with 82 points. 5 local runners here from Madison County picking up victories. For Madison Central was Presley Lockmuller winning the long jump, Meredith Campbell winning the 1,600 meters, Alexis Nagech with the 3,200 meters, and of course Wyatt Stewart easily outdistancing the competition in the pole vault. And for Madison Southern, it was Braden Hall winning the 400-meter dash. April 11th at Madison Central is the next big all-comers meet, and there'll probably be another big crowd there for that. And but all the rest of the results of that are on richmondregister.com if you want to get a little more information about all that. But we try to list as many folks as we can, and we had tons of local kids in that from all 4 local schools. So if you want to go check out our website. High school tennis this past week, we had rainouts and spring break rescheduling and everything as well. So we didn't have a whole lot of tennis action around the county, but we did have one all-county matchup, and that was Thursday in Richmond as Madison Central played host to Madison Southern. And it was Madison Central picking up 4-1 wins in both the girls and boys team competition. The winners for Central in the singles competition were J.C. Wilson, Leah Crump, Brian Pruitt, and Braden Stam. And Central winners in doubles were Schaefer and Burns, Hooper and Wash, and Smith and Morin. And for Southern, the winners were 2 doubles teams, Heshamy and Limmer, and Seals and Green. Both these teams have next week off, obviously with both of them being on spring break. EKU baseball, a good week for the Colonels. They won 4 out of their 5 games and claimed their first A-Sun Series win of the season. Beat Moorhead on Tuesday, then went up to Dayton and picked up a win over the Flyers on Wednesday. And then in a crazy series here in Richmond with North Florida, they won 2 out of the 3 games in a series that featured 69 runs. It all started out crazy on Friday night when the rain was coming in. It was 13-7. North Florida had the lead in the 8th inning when the game was stopped because of rain and lightning and all that good stuff. They started back up Saturday afternoon, and the Colonels scored 8 runs in the 8th inning to pick up a 15-13 win. Teams came back out and played just an hour later in Game 2, and in that game it was North Florida picking up a 19-11 win in a game where the Colonels hit 6 home runs, but North Florida had a pair of 7-run innings which propelled them to the victory. And then on Sunday in the finale, a 6-5 Colonel victory. Roderick Chris with a home run and 4 RBIs as the Colonels go to 12-16 on the season, 3-6 in the A-Sun. And they'll be back in action Thursday down in Florida against Jacksonville University. The EKU softball team picked up its first A-Sun win of the season this past weekend. Unfortunately, though, they did not win the series. They lost 2 out of 3 to North Alabama in Florence, Alabama. They fall to 16-17, 1-8 in the A-Sun. Tuesday they're at Northern Kentucky, and then Thursday they'll start a home series with Jacksonville University. So that's the week that was in Madison County sports, but hang with us because here in just a minute, John Lovell will be here to talk about the newest members of the Madison County Sports Hall of Fame.
Miller's Tire and Auto Care. Need to hire experienced technicians, oil change, tire technician, tow truck drivers, exceptional benefits and pay. Drop your resume off at Miller's Tire on the Big Hill Avenue location. The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by MetroNet, superfast internet, simply a better connection. Total Comfort, heating and air conditioning. Let Total Comfort keep you cool or warm this winter. Call for service or for a free replacement quote. Wynn's Auto Detailing Service. Platinum Roofing, Solar and Green Solutions. Voted Richmond's best roofer 7 years in a row. And by kymedia.net, digital media solutions on your terms.
Well, welcome back. We are joined by John Lovell, who's on the board of the Madison County Sports Hall of Fame. Just a few weeks back, you guys put out the list of the second ever class of the Madison County Sports Hall of Fame, and you guys will put them in this spring. And you're nice enough to come up from Berea today and hang out with us and tell us a little bit about the class. 9 individuals, 2 teams, and we're going to kind of go through them all. But before we do all that, last year, the first class, it was a great class. It was a great reception. Lots of people showed up, and it was just an amazing thing.
Yeah, it was a really, it went beyond our expectations as far as successful. We were able to raise enough money to do it, and well, you know, it's always tough to decide who you're going to pick.
Mm-hmm.
So last year we decided that we would go with 10 individuals that predated 1950 as far as birth date goes.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, you know, I talk to people about it from time to time, and they always say, well, you know, surely you're all going to put so-and-so in, and surely you're going to put so-and-so. I said, yeah, I guarantee you they'll get in there.
Yeah.
But, you know, when they're, you know, they might be 28 years old. We're not in a real big hurry right now, but they're going to get there. But, yes, it was a great success. And we put some pretty good people in there.
Yeah. A lot of people, everybody knew. I mean, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, they're just, you know,
Roy Kidd, Ralph Hacker, you know.
Well, I mean, you had Earl Combs, and you had Billy Evans from Berea, you had Don Mills from Berea, who were both so well known. So it was good. We wanted to include female, and I'll admit last year was tough because, as you know, females didn't really have an opportunity in sports in this area or in any area until, you know, really Title IX came in. So, but
Caddy Wiley.
She was a great golfer, and I think she deserved to get in. So that worked out great.
Yeah.
And then we were glad to put in, I'm trying to think of his first name, Irvin Shanks,
Yeah, from
who was the first African American to play at Berea College. At first, we thought he was the first African American in the state.
Yeah.
But we found out there was a player at Bellarmine just before
one year before.
Just
one year
him.
before. But even the reporting from back in that time, I went back and found the old article.
Oh,
and everybody thought it was him.
We
had still a great accomplishment.
Right. We didn't even get the info ourselves until somebody sent it to us. So that was good.
Yeah.
But it was a great thing, and we've built off that, and this year I'm happy to say that we've got ample amount of donations. We're in real good shape in that area, and I think we've got 9 good people and 2 really good teams.
Yeah, and I think the difference between last year and this year is, fortunately, a lot more of these folks are still with us this year.
That's true. That's true.
Only 3 of the folks last year were still living, and then one of them couldn't attend. Don Mills couldn't attend.
Right.
So we really had just Roy Kidd and Ralph were the only 2 that could actually come.
Right.
But this year, there's quite a few more folks who are still living.
And it's the one drawback to that is we are going to have it at the same venue, and my tickets are going to be a little tight. They're going to be tight, and we're not even. I can't even give you ticket information until we meet next week. We're going to decide how we're going to do that. You know, with the induction of the 1982 Madison Central baseball team, I mean, you're talking about at least 25 players, and you know they want to be there.
Yep.
So that's going to be something we've got to deal with.
Maybe a bigger venue.
Right, yeah, well, that's true, and we even looked at that,
Yeah.
and we really couldn't think of anything. I mean, it's just tough.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to have a venue that's just way too big.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're still growing,
Yeah.
still, you know.
So
working on that
a
kind of-
date has not been set, but you guys are going to put some ticket information out soon. It's going to be $25, I think it says in the press release.
Yes, it will be $25. The date is set.
Oh, it is set,
For Saturday.
Okay.
Is that the 20th, I think? Saturday the 20th. I should have it written down here. Yes, May 20th.
Okay.
And right now, it's slated to start at 5 o'clock. Of course, we have the dinner, and then we'll have the presentation. And our Keith Farmer is once again going to be our MC.
Awesome.
So that'll be nice. But
Madison County guy, Keith Farmer.
sure. And he was very happy to do it and wanted to do it this year. So.
He got a little emotional last year. He
did.
talked about Don Richardson.
Well, sure. I mean, he played for Don,
Yep.
and that was emotional for him. But that's good. And then, like I say, we're in good shape on everything. Just the ticket situation is, we're just going to see how it works out. That's all
Maybe
I can
first
tell
come,
you.
first serve. That's a good thing.
I don't know. We'll see.
All right, well, let's go through all 9 of these folks here. We're going to talk about each one just for a little bit. We're not going to go through the whole bio. If you go to Madison County Sports Hall of Fame's website, they have the full bio for all these folks. And trust me, some of these folks have bios that are really long because they did a lot of really
Sure.
amazing things in their lives.
Sure.
So
That's
we're
right.
going to start off with the second woman ever to be inducted. It'll be Beverly Acker-Lenz.
Right.
Is a 5-time state champion swimmer at Model High School and Model Lab School, and then went on
Right.
to swim at the University of Florida as well.
Yes, and did some things on the national level. She, I wasn't aware of just how much she had accomplished, but in high school, she won 5 state championships, and I think breaststroke and freestyle relay, and then, at Florida, she did what she did. So we feel like she's very deserving and happy that she's going in.
Yeah, first I guess swimming related person. You
That's
guys
right. That's right. And we've had some good swimmers in this. And Model had such a good program there for years.
Yeah,
So-
later on, Tim Cahill, the coach of that team. Later
Yeah.
on.
Oh, yeah, Tim
And
Cahill.
he's someone who I think eventually will be in this.
Well,
this Hall
you're
of Fame
right.
as
You're
well.
right. You're
No
right.
doubt
I mean, how
about
could
that.
you keep him out?
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, his record speaks for itself.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on. Somebody everybody around here knows the first ever Mr. Basketball from Madison
Right.
County, Robert Brooks, 1970, Madison High
Right.
School.
Right. I was in the 6th grade, 12-year-old when they went to the state tournament that year, and we all. I mean, he was like a superstar to us, and
As he was.
he was great. And Coach Vinsel, he built that team with young kids starting about 1967, and he knew he was going to have a good team because he had not only Robert, he had Tim Harris, and Spencer Morgan, Randy Watts. I mean, they were just, they're all well known. But Robert, he was always tough, but his latter part of his senior year, he just took off. He had 32 points in the state championship game against Mayo, which we only lost by 1, and he set the school record for points in a game in the quarterfinals against Breathitt County. He scored 47.
Wow.
And that was the record and is the record at Madison. So, yes, he's a good one. He's a good one.
Yeah, yeah. And have you ever been over to Model? You ever been over to the Model gym? You know the name Shirley Kearns. That's who they named the gym after. But baseball coach there, basketball coach
yeah.
there, administrator there.
Right.
Started the boys' basketball program there back a long time ago.
Yes, he did.
And he's still with us, and hopefully he'll be able to come.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I certainly hope he can make it. Coach Kearns started the program when I was 4 years old in 1962. The first year, it was Madison Model until 61. And then that first year, they did not have a coach. They sort of had an intramural program, and then they started a program in 62. And Coach Kearns was there until, gosh, I'm not.
Up into the 80s, right?
What was, I can't remember his last year. But anyway, he was there. It just seemed like, my whole, it was definitely my entire school life and even into college. But and just a great fella. He played for Eastern, actually coached Eastern's freshman team when he graduated, and then he was at, I'm trying to think of the high school that he came from. Oh, he was at Carrollton, and coached there for maybe 5 or 6 years, and then took the model job, and he sort of became, he was sort of an institution as far as, and you talk to his players, and they think an awful lot of Coach Kearns. And he had a challenge because obviously model wasn't working with the top talent in the state. They had some good players, but it was a small school, and I think he did a pretty good job with what he had, and he did a good job in baseball. And we just felt like he deserved to get in just because of his legacy. He was there for, like we say, I guess over 30 years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. When you have a gym named after you,
That's right.
You did
Named the
something
gym
right.
after that, and they put him in their Hall of
Yep.
Fame here recently, and I think he's deserving.
Yeah, actually, the model just put Beverly Lynn's in their Hall of Fame as well.
That's
so there's
right.
a little connection
That's right.
there this year as well. Actually, there's a lot of model connections. We got a couple more coming up here in a minute.
Right.
But Monty Joe Lovell, obviously Madison High football coach, 11 years,
Right.
77 wins, had 7 win seasons.
Right.
And everybody around here knows too.
Right. I think a lot of it, since he's my older brother. No, Monty Joe, when Monty Joe came to Madison, well, he came in '68 as an assistant coach. He was an assistant for 3 years under Mel Chandler. After, I think, Madison's last winning season had been, and we were so good, during Coach Kidd's tenure, all the way to 1965, I think, was the last winning season. And then we went like 5 years where we did not have a winning season. And Coach Chandler left Madison to become assistant principal at Shelbyville High. And Monty Joe got the job. And we took off. I don't know how else to put it. I remember when he started that season off, I think we only had about 23 or 24 players come out, but we had some great players. And went 7-4 that first year, won the district. The next year, I feel like we should have won the state. We were 12-0 when we played Trigg County. And of course, everybody, well, not everybody, but most people know of the tragedy we went through when we played them in Hopkinsville. We lost to them by I think it was 19 or 17-10, and we had the
Plane crash.
Yeah,
later that night.
Lost 10 great fans. And, of course, Trigg County went on to win the state. But that was a great team. The next year we went 8-3. We were runner-up in the district. The next season we went 4-6, but that was my junior year, and we had a lot of things just come up unexpected. We actually had a player die in a scrimmage before the season started.
Oh, wow.
Which was horrible. Michael Ballard, who was such a great guy. And it was just tough. It was tough. That team could have been a lot better than its record indicated. And as it was, we started out, I think, 4-2 or 5-2, and we're actually ranked in the top 5 in the state. But we just had some things take place that I won't go into later in the year. And then the next year, my senior year, we went 11-1 and didn't even get in the playoffs. Now, how often does that happen? They got teams that get in there now that are 0-10.
Yeah, winless teams.
Yeah, I was just that was disappointing. But when we had a winning season in '76, and then in '77, he had we had 2 seniors on the whole team. We played a really tough schedule. Went 1-10, which was gosh, you think about 1-10, that's horrible. It paid off the next 2 years because we went 9-4 and went to the state semifinals, and we're 1/2 again away from going to the state championship game. And then the next year we did go to the state championship game and lost to Bellevue. And Monty Joe coached 2 more years. We went 8-3 in '80, and then his last year, he started the year off as head coach, and he was also named principal that August. And that, I mean, trying to be principal and be the head coach didn't work out the best, so we didn't have as good a year that year. But he had a great career, and he played it, he was an old Madison guy, so. And I'm prejudiced. So.
That's all right. You have like an encyclopedic knowledge of that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm full of trivia.
Well, switching from football back to golf and another model connection, but Edward Luxon, one of the best amateur golfers in the state, won the Madison County Country Club Championship 8 times, won a bunch of state titles as well.
Right. My brother Monty Joe and Edwin were the same age. Edwin, of course, went to model, and so I've known Edwin since I was just a real little kid, and he was just a golf phenom. He was legendary in his teams because he was so good. And he set, every record I think they've got at the Madison Country Club, he said. Here in Central Kentucky, he won numerous tournaments, and I think he's very deserving because I don't know. I mean, the only other golfer that comes to mind that's native Madison County that would be right there with him would be Pat Stevens, who was a great golfer at Madison Central. So when it comes to golf, I mean, it's hard to get better than Edwin Luxon in Richmond, Kentucky.
You probably see Pat Stevens on one of these lists one of these days, too.
I would not be a bit surprised. I would not be surprised.
Absolutely. Well, Sandy Martin, tennis, track, golf, 23 years at EKU, coached 4 different sports at the college level. That's crazy.
It is. And she was successful, won OVC championships in just about every one of them. And her longevity, 23 years. And she's in the EKU Hall of Fame. And, when we looked at her record, we thought, this is a no-brainer. She deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And so this year we will have 2 females in our class, which we're excited about, too.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Buddy Roberts started the basketball program over at Madison High and Madison Central at 55.
Right.
23 and 94 during his career. Great career, very worthy.
Oh, yeah. Coach Roberts he played for Blanton Collier at Paris. Most people will remember Blanton Collier. Well, if you're old like me, you will anyway. And he played at Eastern under Coach McBrayer. And they had some great teams when he was there. And I think he coached a year. I don't think it was over a year, maybe 2, at Powell County. And then Madison Central, old Central High, consolidated with Kingston, Kirksville, Waco, and started the new Madison Central Consolidated High School, and he took the job. And he was, all 10 years that he was head coach, they were very good, very good. And they were the team that, I guess it was his second year, and this is when Don Mills was at Berea, and they were ranked as high as #1 in the state. Won the LIT, I think, in 1956, but Berea beat Central in the district tournament, and of course, your runner-up gets to go to the region. Well, back then, they didn't have a rule that said you can't play the team you beat in the first round. Well, Berea had beaten Central 3 times that year. And the 4th time didn't work out. Coach Roberts upset him, and that was a big win for them. He never won the region, but the 11th region is a pretty tough region. And he had, I know he had a great team in 1963 with numerous guys that I knew, Glenn Marshall and Jesse Ward, to name a couple, and I think that team won 28 or 29 games. So, and he's also in the KHSAA Hall of Fame, so he's very deserving.
Yeah. All-American quarterback back in the day, 59-62, Talbot Todd at Madison, or like I said, Model Madison, or
right.
What do they call it? It was Madison Model?
It was Madison Model.
Yeah, played for Coach Kidd.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, he played for Coach Kidd. When Jerry Woolham graduated in 59, And Jerry signed with UK as a quarterback and played quarterback at UK. Coach Kidd had started a Little League program. The first year he was at Madison, we had no feeder program. And he knew you needed a good feeder program. Being from Corbin, you know, that football's awful important at Corbin. And he was a very successful player there. But he got that started, and two fellows that were sophomores in '59 were 8th graders in the year that they started, 7th or 8th grade, and that would be Talbot and Freddie Blue. And they both became, you know, very integral.
And Freddie went in last year. So,
yes, yeah. Freddie went in last year, and they started as sophomores. The '59 team was very young, went 7-3 against a tough schedule. His junior year, this is another, you know, I told you we went 11-1 my senior year and didn't make the playoffs. Madison went 10-0, didn't get in the playoffs.
Wow.
Because Lafayette got the bid due to they didn't play each other, and they had this thing called the Dickinson system, which I think was crazy, but they had to pick somebody because they didn't make them play each other. So they didn't go that year, but the next year was the first year Madison ever went to the playoffs. The playoffs didn't start until '59 at Kentucky. And that team was 13-0. They were 13-0 after the semifinals. They went to Paducah Tillman, beat Paducah Tillman, and then in the championship game they played Highlands, a great team, and they didn't have Freddie Blue. He had gotten knocked out in the Recreation Bowl. So they lost that one 12-0. But Talbot did, not only was, I think he was even named to one All-American team, but he also had a very, very good career at the University of Kentucky, and was a big booster over there. And, of course, he and Freddie both passed from Lou Gehrig's disease, which is, it just blows my mind that two guys in the same backfield would get such a horrible thing. Yeah. But very deserving. And, when it comes to quarterbacks that have played in Madison County, I don't know if I really can't think of anybody I'd put above Talbot. He and Jerry, they were just great quarterbacks.
Yeah. And rounding out the individual portion is someone everybody around here also knows, Roland Willie, the head coach at Berea College for 27 years in the NAIA Hall of Fame. Resume page long. I mean, just a great guy. His name's on the court down there at Berea College as well, and they still have his camps down there, and left a great legacy. Right.
I don't think there's ever been a better coach in any sport at Berea College than Roland, and as you said, he had a great career. He started out, he played at Eastern and had a great college career, and then he started coaching with C.M. Newton at Transylvania, and Lee Rose right behind C.M., both, in my opinion, Hall of Fame coaches at the college level. And he got the Berea job and did really well. I think his '78 team was his best team. They won the KIAC, and they were tough. So I think Roland is very deserving.
Right. Seems like you guys always try to make a point of hitting all the bases. Not only, getting Berea College in there.
We do. We want to include Berea, and we want to make it up, obviously.
Entire county.
Yeah. And it's not like we're putting somebody in there that doesn't deserve it.
Oh, no.
And there will be, we got a lot of people on the list, and they'll all, I think they'll all get there at some point. But we feel good about this class. I did not mention. Well, I guess I sort of mentioned. We mentioned Robert, but
the 69-70. The 69.
You're bringing up the teams now. That 69-70 team was. I can remember as a sixth grader. I hoped we would do well in the state tournament, and I was really surprised we got all the way to the final. Coach Vinsel had those guys playing great. And the year before, a lot of people don't remember this, but the year before we went to the state tournament, won the 11th region 2 years in a row. And we unfortunately had to play Louisville Central in the first round, who had two high school All-Americans named Otto Petty and Ron King, who went on and played for Florida State and helped Florida State go to the final in, I guess it was 1973, and lost to Coach Wooden at UCLA. So, but the thing about that game was they beat us by 8 points, and nobody else ever touched them. They won the state championship game by 30.
Wow.
So that was a great team. If that team hadn't gotten in the bracket with Louisville Central, I wouldn't have been surprised. We'd had 2 state championship game appearances. But so the 70 team is very, very deserving, and looking forward to seeing a lot of those guys who haven't seen him forever. Unfortunately, Coach Vincel passed a few years ago, but hopefully his wife and his daughters will be there. And his assistant that year was Jesse Ward, who
we know Jesse.
Everybody knows Jesse.
We love Jesse. He's awesome.
Everybody knows Jesse, and he'll be there, and it'll be great.
He won't be taking pictures.
Well,
you can't take pictures if he's going to be part of the ceremony.
Well, you wouldn't think, but I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't have that camera. But it's going to be fun.
Yeah, the 2 teams, like you mentioned, the 69-70 Madison High team that went to the state championship game, and then, of course, we mentioned it earlier, but the 1982 Central baseball team, the 40-0 team, the team that everybody still talks about. And,
I mean, they were unbelievable. I mean, they
went down to Florida and beat a community college team. I think they had Dwight Gooden on it, and Dwight Gooden didn't pitch against them in that game.
Right.
But Dwight Gooden was on that team. I mean, I didn't come here until 2003, and I still hear stories every day about that 82 team.
They were unbelievable. I mean, just imagine, 40-0. It's tough. That's tough. And Coach Richardson, of course, had built such a strong program and had been around. I think he took over Central in '59, if I'm not mistaken, and they were tough. And I got to give his assistant Jimmy Whitaker a lot of credit too, because Jimmy Whitaker was a great assistant coach. He really did a good job.
Of course, Don went in last year, and unfortunately, he's no longer with us. So.
That's right. His daughter is on our committee, and I know she loved that he was able to get in last year. But I got to coach with Coach Richardson 2 years after that state championship game. I went to Central as an assistant. I left Madison, went to Central, and I coached his freshman baseball team for 4 years, and I got to know him pretty well. And he was sort of a character, but I tell you, when it came to baseball, the man just won. He just won. And he worked to build that program, and this is sort of the culmination. Although he coached another 10 years.
Yeah, and coached basketball as well.
Oh, yeah,
very successful in that.
He had 2 different stints in basketball. He was the first guy that ever took Central to the state tournament in basketball. So, but this team is very deserving, and I'm looking forward to seeing those guys too.
Yeah, a lot of those guys still around.
Oh yeah.
We know one of those guys, right, Randy? Lloyd.
We do. I won't tell you any stories.
All right, well, it's going to be another great class, and you guys are always looking for people to submit names. If you go to the website, you can submit.
Yes, definitely.
And you guys, I know, are always looking for a diversity of sports as well.
Right.
Obviously, football, basketball kind of dominate everything, but you guys are always looking for anything. So if you go to Madison County Sports Hall of Fame website, there's a place where you can do a submission.
Yes, and it's going to try to stay with what we've done. Be diversified, but certainly get people that are unquestionably deserving.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think we have anyway.
Oh, I think it's been great so far.
Yes.
Well, you want to give a shout out to the rest of the people who are on the board that help you out there? I mean, starting with Jack and Carl and everybody.
Oh yeah, well we got Carl Park and Jack Frost is the man that started. Jack Frost called me in May of 2020, and I'd just gotten done golfing. Matter of fact, I was in my car and pulled over to talk to him, and he said, I want you to be on a committee, and we're going to start a Madison County Sports Hall of Fame. And he's from South Carolina.
That's right. He lives in South Carolina.
But
yeah.
he said, we've got one here, and he said, he had come up for Coach Richardson's funeral, and he said, I just got to thinking, I said, this county has got a sports history that needs to be remembered, and we need a Hall of Fame. And he's the one that started it, and I was honored that I was one of the first people he called. So Jack's on there, Carl's on there, Eugene Estel, Hubert Broadus, gosh, don't let me forget anybody, Leanne Browder, my Sylvia Cruz, Karen Knezovich, my wife. I got my wife on there because she is so good at organization. We had really good ideas, and we had meetings, but I can remember telling Carl and Bart Bellairs, who was our chairman, and Bart, of course, has moved since then, told Carl and Bart and Jack, I said, fellas, I said, if y'all don't mind, I'm going to bring my wife to the next meeting because I think she can get us going.
Yeah.
And they have complimented me numerous times.
Good choice.
He said,
Good choice, John.
He said, it might be the best thing you've done for us. But I'm a little prejudiced too. But I think I got everybody. I think that's it. Well, no, I did not. John Hamilton's our treasurer.
Okay.
Johnny played for Coach Kearns at Model. And he's been very, very helpful. And I think that's it. I believe so.
Yeah.
And if I forgot somebody, I apologize.
Send all your hate mail to
There you go.
his
That's
Facebook
right.
page.
There you go.
And tell people about your I love your Facebook group. Tell people about
Yeah.
your Facebook group.
Well, I guess it's been probably 2012. And I had retired from teaching in 2009. Had plenty of time on my hands and was sort of learning Facebook. And I knew that you could start a group, and I thought, well, you know what, I think I had all kinds of pictures and stuff that I thought people might like to see. So I started a group called Memories and Pictures of Richmond, Kentucky. I think we have about 16,000 members now.
Yes.
And people enjoy it. And they compliment me all the time. And I said, it's a labor of love for me. I don't have anything, a whole lot more that I'm having to do besides go out to the country club and play golf.
That's what you're supposed to do when you retire, man.
I'm taking advantage of it. And I also started a Memories and Pictures of Berea, Kentucky, that my wife sort of maintains it more because she's a Berea girl. And I live in Berea, but Richmond, of course, was my home first 30 years of my life.
Well, it's a great. You could scroll through there for hours. I mean, it's unbelievable, the pictures and the memories and old class pictures and the amount of interaction of people saying, "Oh, that was my sister," or that was my dad," or that was my grandfather.
The great thing about it is if I have a picture or I have somebody is asking me about something or whatnot. If I go to that group and put it up,
yeah,
somebody's going to know.
yeah.
And they'll tell us. I've been educated. As much as I've educated, I've been educated. So it's been nice.
All right, well, folks, you better get your tickets early. As soon as they go on sale, we'll let you know.
Right. We'll get that information after we meet next week. I don't know what day we're meeting next week, but we're gonna have to hash all that out because May 20th will be here before we know it. So.
Yeah. Appreciate you doing this. I know Jack made
problem.
you do it. Jack put you up
Nah,
to it. We had Carl last year, so it was your turn this year.
Right.
Come
Well,
on.
actually, Carl said, why don't you do that for me this year? So I said fine, and I'm glad to do it. I'm glad to do it.
Well, I could sit here and listen to you talk about the old days all day. It's like I said, it's amazing just hearing you record of every year and everything. It's amazing. So, and that's long before I was around here. So it's very very interesting to me to know a little bit more about what happened here long before I came along. So
if I don't know it, and I think you don't know it, whatever I say, you're going to go with it. No,
You were Carl Park.
I try to be accurate.
Anything at Eastern, I call Carl.
There you go. Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
he'll
Carl's
tell you,
the
like,
guy.
him and Stottlemyre. That's basically,
Sure.
if they don't know it, then it didn't happen. So there you go.
That's right.
So, yeah, we'll let you know as soon as tickets go on sale because they will be going fast. And unless you guys get a bigger venue, you might look into
I think
that.
we're going to, if it's, this year is going to be tight, so.
Yeah. It was packed in there. It was hot in there. It was a little bit warm.
It was.
like,
It was. That's what we were talking about. I said, we had a packed house last year, and this year, I mean, two of the teams, the three teams we put in last year, there wasn't a living member left. We had four teams.
Yeah.
Three Richmond High teams that won the KHSAL state title, and then the first Madison High football team, which was the first, made high school program in the Madison County. We didn't have to worry about it. Now we had some of the children of the Richmond High players were there, but there wasn't anybody from the 21 team because that's just way too far back.
Yeah.
And so we didn't have to deal, but with anything in that respect, with the 70 Madison team and the 82 Madison Central team, there's going to be people there because I'm sure they're excited, and there's still plenty of them around.
Yeah. We were happy to help you guys promote it last year. We're happy to be
I appreciate
happy to be
it.
part of it again this year.
I appreciate everything you've done for us.
So look for some
Appreciate it.
features and stuff in the future, and maybe we can even get those 82 guys to come in here and hang out with us and talk.
That would be good. That would be
Do a
good.
little thing like that. So
That's a group.
yeah, so I appreciate you coming by. I know
Right.
it was a tough trip up from Berea.
Well,
we filmed
I
this
mean-
in the middle of a rainstorm over here, so
It's fine out there now, but when I was driving, it was like I couldn't hardly see the road.
yeah. Well, all right. Well, cool. I appreciate you coming by. I really do, and love your Facebook group. If you don't follow the Facebook group, go check it out. It's really amazing, and it's good content
Right.
almost all the time. It's almost
I'll keep them coming. I appreciate it, Nathan.
All right. Well, that'll wrap up this week's edition of the Richmond Register Sports Show. We'll be back next Sunday at 9 o'clock with another brand new show. And as always, Richmond R Sports on Twitter is the best way to keep up with sports in Madison County, along with Register Sports on Facebook and richmondregister.com. We'll see you next time.
Stack of the week. Stack of the week. Miller's Tire and Auto Care need to hire experienced technicians, oil change, tire technician, tow truck drivers, exceptional benefits and pay. Drop your resume off at Miller's Tire on the Big Hill Avenue location. The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by MetroNet, super fast internet, simply a better connection. Total Comfort, heating and air conditioning. Let Total Comfort keep you cool or warm this winter. Call for service or for a free replacement quote. Wynn's Auto Detailing Service. Platinum Roofing, Solar and Green Solutions. Voted Richmond's best roofer 7 years in a row. And by kymedia.net, digital media solutions on your terms. Thanks for watching the Richmond Register Sports Show. For more information about all things sports in Madison County, log on to richmondregister.com or on Twitter. And like us, Register Sports on Facebook. Get the Richmond Register directly to your mailbox or get the app online and visit richmondregister.com.